What's going on, people? Welcome back to our Arsenal transfer update video. Benjamin Sesko, then looking like it's going to be Arsenal's new striker this summer. Looking like Arsenal are pursuing this guy over other strikers as well. When I get into the latest news today, we have Romano confirming that the deal is on Benjamin Sesko to Arsenal. Get your thoughts in down below, guys. Hit like buttons up. Sub channel if you are new as well. We're on the road to 11,000 subscribers, and let's get right into it. So we got a report yesterday from Fabrizio saying that understand Arsenal have started moving initial concrete talks for Benjamin Sesko deal. He's always been high on the recruitment team management. Mikel Arteta's list with attempts to get the deal done rejected by Leipzig in May 2024 and January. Now Sesko will leave. Arsenal are on it. So yeah, looking like Sesko is going to be the guy, people. Looking like Benjamin Sesko is going to be the striker for Arsenal. The deal is on for Arsenal. We obviously open initial concrete talks for him as well. I also wanted to share a bit more detail from another journalist over there, Florian Plattenberg, who obviously reported this story a few days before Fabrizio reported it as well. He's came out with a bit more detail on the whole structure situation around how much we're going to pay for him. Because there's a few reports yesterday, like I made a few streams on about the price tag of people coming out and saying that he's around 92 million. Leipzig have had an asking price of 92 million for Sesko, but Plattenberg came out and said negotiations between Leipzig and Arsenal regarding Sesko have begun. A few days ago, there was already a meeting between the executives Marcel Schaffer and Andrea Berta in London. It remains unclear whether Arsenal are able to afford the full package. Discussions are currently ongoing about a possible payment structure. The release clause is set over 80 million, which I think is around 68 million pounds for Benjamin Sesko. Um, he also goes on to say about Victor Gyökeres is still high on the list. The current focus is all on Sesko. So that's what Plattenberg's saying there. Still not ruling Victor Gyökeres out of the equation yet. It's kind of like Arsenal are maybe in talks in both sort of camps, in both sort of deals at the moment, in terms of signing, you know, just sort of doing both deals at the same time. They have a backup plan maybe with Gyökeres, but it seems to be the main guy for Arsenal is going to be Benjamin Sesko. We know Arteta has wanted this guy since for a while now. He tried in the summer 2024, but it's more the fact that Sesko wanted to stay at Leipzig at the time. He wanted to do what Haaland did, sort of stay at Dortmund. Haaland stayed at Dortmund for a few seasons, sorry, and he hit the ground running there and went to Manchester City. Let's not forget his age as Sesko, 21 years of age, as we know. He's still a young player, sort of raw player as well. So he wanted to stay in that season to really develop and have another season in Germany with Leipzig, obviously. And then in January as well, Arsenal went in, we're looking at him, but Arsenal just couldn't, I think was too tight of the money. They wanted 70 million for him in January, and Arsenal didn't want to pay that. We ended up signing no one in the end. We waited till Watkins last week of the window to finally make a bid for Watkins. So it was all over the place in January, wasn't it? Anyway, for Arsenal. So it was like we've wanted him since Arteta has wanted this guy. He seems to be a big fan of him, um, and I hope he comes in and hits the ground running. I really do, because for me, I don't. I'm not like some people who call this guy a really bad player. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's actually a really good player. But my point is with Sesko is number one, I look at the age. He's 21 years of age. I look at, has he really proven it enough in the big stage yet? I don't think he has, in my opinion. I think he's more of a project player because he's still young and he's still not proved. He's still got a lot to prove. We're at a stage now as a football club where we need to sign players who are gonna come in and hit the ground running straight away. We've gone past the signing players that are project players. We all remember the Project Youth buzzword a few years ago, where we signed these younger players and they had potential. We cannot afford to make any more mistakes this summer. This is meant to be one of Arsenal's biggest summers. This is going to be apparently. This is where we're waiting for the brand new striker, and Sesko comes in. It's not a dig at Sesko, it really isn't. But is this a mistake when there's other strikers out there who are a lot more proven, a lot more experienced out there as well? Is this a mistake? Signing Sesko, guys, time will tell. He's got 13 goals in the Bundesliga, 21 goals in all competitions. He's got positives and negatives to his game. I've watched him a few times. I watched him fully. last season against Real Madrid, both legs, and he was very wasteful in front of goal. Against Real Madrid. I know it's only one off and he's won games, but he's wasteful in front of goal. But he has shown at times he can be clinical. Against Bayern Munich this season, for example, he scored twice against them. Against Dortmund, he scored. Against Atleti, he scored in the Champions League. Sporting, he scored as well. I think got a brace or maybe just a goal, if I can remember. He's obviously got that aerial ability about him. In terms of his height, plays the advantage. He's good in the air. But it's a big thing because you're gonna rely. It's a lot of pressure to put on a 21-year-old man. A lot of pressure. We're Arsenal now. We need to go next season and win the Premier League. There's no competing. There's no finishing second again. It's win. That is the standard for Arsenal next season. Is to win the Premier League. Sesko, if he's the only striker that we're going to be getting in, if this is the Aubameyang replacement, yeah, if this is the striker everyone's been talking about, everyone's gassing up, then I expect him to come in and take us over the line and win the Premier League next season. And this is clearly Arteta's player as well, man. There'd be absolutely no excuses now. So I'm going to sit back with this. So Sesko is not my first choice of striker. No way, he's not. There's others out there that I mentioned on the channel. I'm a massive fan of Victor Gyökeres. I'm a massive fan of others out there like Julian Alvarez, for example. Victor Osimhen. I'm still a massive fan of him. I still even take Ollie Watkins at this rate. I really would, you know. But Sesko for me, it's not me calling him a bad player. There's other strikers out there. I've got preferences for other strikers out there. And Gyökeres is cheaper than what Sesko's going to be anyway. I just not when I watch him. Look, it's good signs and it's positive signs when I'm watching Sesko. But there's also a few negatives I have as well. You know, is he going to be able to have that pressure on him? He knows he's not going to be the main guy next season, right? To come in and take us over the line, it's a lot to rely on a 21-year-old. And what I have seen of him in the bigger so-called like the bigger games when it really matters, at times he's very wasteful in front of goal. And also, what I noticed with him, and I know that a striker's job is to score goals, right? That's what we want. We need a player that's prolific, clinical, going to come in and score goals, right? What worries me though is at times when you look at in on the ball, like his link-up play, for example, um, it does not really. It don't look good. It doesn't look good. His link-up play is at times very, very poor. And again, I'm watching him in a few games, and he's quite wasteful in front of goal. He has very similarities to someone like Kai Havertz and me as well, people. But time will tell. Listen, I hope he comes in. I hope he hits the ground running. I will hold my hands up if he proves me wrong. And it's not like I'm sitting there saying I think he's a crap player because he's not a crap player. But when we're talking about Arsenal signing a new striker, it's pretty underwhelming. Where you go, there's other strikers out there, and you go for someone like Benjamin Sesko. We've been waiting how many years for a striker, and we get served up someone like Benjamin Sesko. I find it pretty underwhelming, people. I really do. Listen, he can come in and all shut us up and take us the league title, and then we all hold our hands up and say, fair play to you, mate. Yeah, and I hope he does. Of course, when he comes in, I've got no problems. I've got no problems with him coming in. It's not like I'm going to not back the guy. I'm going to come in, see what he does, but he's got to prove that he's good enough. We ain't going to just sit and gas up players. Of course, have confidence in the signing, but I'm not going to just sit here and gas him up for no reason. I've seen some good things of him, but I've seen some bad things of him as well, to be honest with you. Is he going to be able to break down? We know what our kryptonite is. Is in a low block. Is he going to be able to break down low blocks? Exactly, because we know we need players that's when it's really going to matter against these teams who know how to play against Arsenal when we've been lacking a striker. Is he going to be the guy to step up and be the difference maker? Is he going to be that guy? Time will tell, people. This seems to be Arteta's son, and there's absolutely no excuses for this manager anymore, people. Right? This is his own squad chosen by design. Clearly, he's got his wish of signing Benjamin Sesko. We don't know what happens behind the scenes if this is Berta's signing, but part of me thinks this was already done in January. You got to put it in this perspective as well, right? Arsenal clearly have a club to club relationship with like a really good relationship with Leipzig because they respected his sort of decision in the summer. January as well. We know he's looking at him. Now we're back in for him. Part of me thinks it's sort of we did the groundwork, as they call it, in January or the summer as well. Part of me thinks, you know what? Even before Berta came in, this still was sort of already almost done. So the story may be true of Berta wanting Vizio Gyökeres. That came out from Fabrizio saying that Berta was pushing for Gyökeres because he wanted him at Atletico Madrid as well. That could be very, very true, but I think this deal was already done before Berta came in personally. And now we're just obviously going to get over the line, and obviously Sesko's going to want the move. He's going to be leaving Leipzig. That's been official now. And in terms of the deal overall, it's going to most likely be his release clause, or maybe something less than that, around 6 to 8 million for Benjamin Sesko. It better work out. That's what I'm going to say, because I'll finish on this, guys. My final point. The reason why I've got my doubts is because we have to get it right. Arsenal Football Club, Arteta, you have to get this signing right this time. Because how many windows have we had? How much money have we spent where year in, year out, we make the wrong decisions? Year in, year out, we don't do what's required. Year in, year out, there's other players out there that could have been beneficial to us when we go for someone else. How many times have we seen it? Not just with Arteta, yeah, but with even Wenger at times. Like we signed Danny Welbeck, for example, when we needed a striker. I think we was looking at Gonzalo Higuain and we signed Danny Welbeck instead. Like I think we was looking at Luis Suarez in 2014, and then we signed someone else instead. At the end of the day, people, every single decision leads up to the season as well. The windows, the recruitment are a big thing. Why do people keep talking about recruitment and how poor the season's been and why we're not doing anything? Because we look back at the summer transfer windows, we look back at January windows, we say, why didn't we get this player? Why didn't we get that player? So this better work out, man. And if it works out, fair play. But if it doesn't, there's absolutely no excuse. I'm not hearing any excuses for this manager anymore. This manager must deliver. He has to deliver. He's lucky to be in the job for me. He's lucky. Now there's absolutely no excuses. This is Arteta's player now. Sesko is a guy he's wanted for absolutely ages. He's gonna get Sesko. Let's deliver. Now let's deliver, please. Because if we get to end of next season, or if we get to Christmas and we're in the same position where, you know, we're not in even in an we're not in a title race, or we're literally out the cup in the early round again in the Carabao Cup. Yeah, we're playing similar to how we did last season. There's absolutely no excuses anymore. We have to deliver. Sesko, we welcome you, my friend, but now it's time for you to deliver. You have got big weight on your shoulders, my friend. Big weight on your shoulders to come in and take Arsenal over our line. Hopefully, you can do it, guys. That's my thoughts. Get your thoughts in down below. Smash the like buttons up, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. As always, come on, you Gunners.